All right, welcome. And this is George Truchillis. We're talking about self-reliance today. And I'm so thankful that you guys can join us and you've joined us. Today's three topics are the mindset of ownership. Number two, building daily routines or habits. And number three, self-reliance eventually becomes leadership.
Look, I agree with you, George. I mean, self-reliance is a natural state. It's a natural human instinct to be self-reliant, and that I think by taking ownership and creating your own future is actually a natural human drive.
For fun, I'll take the opposite side, the polarizing side, that maybe self-reliance isn't a natural instinct. Maybe you have to challenge yourself to learn how to be that way. But we'll see.
It's kind of interesting. We're brought up in a certain way, right? And you're not self-reliant, and you can't be for the first X number of years of your life.
Yeah, well, I hear what Carl's saying, and we're kind of in somewhat curious agreement. It is to learn, but we've actually unlearned self-reliance. The modern world is actually unteaching us to be self-reliant. It is a natural state, but the world we live in, we're constantly fed the answer. If we want to know something, we jump on the internet. We're becoming used to being non-self-reliant, so we've been learning it. But I still think it's a natural state. And once you go into that state and you start achieving and carving out your own future, it actually feels like you're in a natural place in the world.
That's actually a really good point of perspective to think about, like the helicopter parents from today's society, or even if there's such a thing as a helicopter boss, which I think I've been in the past, where you basically give the answers, like you said, Brenton, right? And people aren't given the opportunity to be challenged and to learn and grow. So you're kind of preventing that self-reliance to even occur under your leadership, potentially, depending on how you lead.
Yeah, and Kyle, that particularly for younger managers, I mean, if they demonstrate self-reliance and do some basic things like just do what you say you're going to do, turn up, take responsibility, all of a sudden you're ahead of 50% of your cohort. So it seems to be less of it out there. So if you demonstrate that, you really set yourself apart.
So the mindset of self-reliance, it's really an attitude that you have to have, right? And as a leader, we got to think about the capability in our organization. Capability means people doing what they should be doing. You're not going to give them the answer because you reduce that capability and that learning. You want to become a learning organization, start giving people just enough for them more than enough for them to struggle, and just enough for them to handle. Even though you might know the answer, you might know the direction they should go, let them struggle a little bit, because that's how you build capability in your organization. And that's how you get this mindset of growth and the mindset of ownership within the system. So the Harada method is about that. Any last comments before we move on to building daily routines?
Yeah, what you're saying, I agree with, George. And you're almost doing the people you work with and the people you're coaching, you owe them actually to give them that moment. I mean, we've all had that in our career when you strive to learn something, or you struggle to with a problem or whatever it is, and then when you master it, there's that aha. I've got it, I'm there, I've made it. Well, not quite. There's the next step now. There's another level. But there's more, yes, there's always more. It's always continuous improvement. So we owe it to those that work with us and we coach to give them that sense of satisfaction. And you're not doing that if you're constantly giving them the answers.
Yeah, I agree. I remember I just got to add this. I remember being a manager, director, and the attitude I had was so wrong, which was, I already got to achieving the goal. Now I want to relax. Why can't I relax for a year or two? I achieved my goals, right? Like I worked hard. And my attitude was, you get there and you stop. Instead of loving getting there and moving forward. I didn't have that growth mindset to grow and be challenged. I didn't have it. So, we learn as we go.
That reminds me of a moment that I had not too terribly long ago. It could have been a year ago, and George, I might have told you about it, where it feels like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
Yeah. Now, you can't build a habit without having a routine. That's just the way it goes. Now, there are habits that can be built, and they're called downhill habits Downhill because you do it once, you get hooked. It's downhill from there. So like gambling is a downhill habit. I gambled, I got hooked. It wasn't a routine. It was a habit right away because I loved it. I was going to do it. It was something that was driving my life. I stopped gambling, of course, at one point. So these are downhill habits. But normally, you got to think routines, and then how do you get routines? So you got to identify yourself with the future you and ask yourself, what does this future you do? What are the skills they have that you do not? Okay, this like speaking skills might be one of them. Just list all those skills. It's not you, it's this future you. It's not you today at all. And then what you want to build, of course, is small, little steps towards this. Pick any one of those skills and just get started. Okay, so building daily routines, critical, because they turn into habits, which make you the future you. And you want to work from the future backwards. Okay, any comments, Kyle?
Yeah, this reminds me of something that I think you told me, it could have been close to a year and a half ago. I had read an article, I think it was a Harvard Business Review article, that said a difference between the A players and B players is the A players typically read 24 books a year on average compared to B players not doing that. And I wasn't much of a reader back then. It could have been a year and a half to 2 years ago. I would read a couple books a year. And I told you, I'm going to read 6 books this year, 12 books the following year, 24 the next year. And you're like, yeah, you could do that. You could also just be that future version of yourself that's reading 2 books a month and just move up the timeline, right? And I was like, yeah, we'll see, right? And then that first month I read 2 books. I was like, oh, that was interesting, right? By accident. So then I just kept on reading. And one of the books I read last month was called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And I just picked a couple of ahas that I had written down on my Post-its during the reading of that book because it related to things you were just talking about. It's basically about we all have 2 lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. So the idea is that we're all born to do something, right? And some of us realize and think we know what that is, and some of us maybe don't, and some of us push it down and say, you know what, I have to make sacrifices to do this for today, and maybe I can do that thing in the future, right? But the idea is that if you are meant to do something that could actually help the world in some way after you're gone, you owe it to the world and you owe it to yourself to realize your potential and to try to do what you were born to do. And one of your comments about the downhill habits, I think you called them, right? This book talks about how resistance is usually kind of like a compass. If you're feeling resistance about doing something, very often it's the thing that you should do. And resistance only opposes in one direction. It only obstructs movement from a lower sphere to a higher one. So to take on a bad habit or a downhill habit, those are usually really easy to adopt because it's potentially reducing kind of what you're capable of in some way, or it's a bad habit, right? So just a couple thoughts on that related to what you were saying.
Yeah, reducing your potential. I mean, I always say, if you're staying where you are today, you're falling behind. Okay, Brett.
Yeah, I think what comes to my mind is just how hard it is to create new habits. That's for me, it's true. So for me, making them easier to get into part of your life pattern is important for me. But also this role of the coach. You've said this, George, and I agree. You'll let yourself down, but you won't let the coach down. So if you know you're getting a phone call on Friday afternoon at 3:00, and oh geez, no, Brenton's going to call. I'm going to do that, and that actually helps move that inertia. And once the inertia is moving and it becomes part of your life pattern, you're on your way. But that's just that getting started is the hard part, and that's where someone who's got your best interest in heart at the center of their mind, that's where they really can add some real value.
Yeah, that's really good. When you get started, here's a cautionary tale. When you get started on a routine, you don't want to miss a meeting. You don't want to miss an event. You don't want to go off that pattern. That's the first excuse you have to drop it. So anything good, like walking, like running, like whatever, anything good in life, and you built a routine, try to keep it forever. Call it something, call it a life routine. The end of life, this is what I'll be doing. So again, it's not the routine itself, it's about who you are, and building routines is critical. So the next topic is,
before we move on to another topic, means just something, it's not very self-reliant of me, perhaps, but I find it's a lot easier when others around me know what routines I'm trying to build, right? I have people that we share once or twice a week, just a screenshot of our routine builder, just so that we're showing each other our progress or lack of progress, and just even cheerlead each other on. It's like, it's okay, like you can start today, right? And I found that I've in the past forgotten to track routines and completely leaves my mind, whether it's for a week or a month. But I've realized I can just start today, the moment I realize that. And it makes such a difference in my day, where I feel so much more productive. And within a couple of days, if there are things that make me healthier, I can feel different once I just start taking those routines back on again.
Very good. It reminds me of the spouse, right? That if you're gonna do something like stop eating chips, these are tough routines. You got to take these chips out of the environment. One of the things with environment, and this is very close to my home here because I'm now north of Winnipeg, right? It's going to be a hellish winter. It's just starting again, and I can't go out and walk. Not that I did in the summer, so I have no excuses. But I can't go out and walk in the winter. I bought snowshoes. That's okay. These are good intentions. But what would be easier is go to Florida. Go to Galveston. That's what I did in the past. It's not happening now, but that would be a lot easier because you're changing your environment to make the routine easier to follow. And that was really good. The environment, and especially when you got help from your spouse.
Another thing
last words.
Yeah, another thing I found was sometimes it's hard to go cold turkey on getting rid of a bad habit. I found swapping it for something that's better is easier to do. So if I'm eating chocolate cake every night, I find it's easier to switch to a lower calorie popsicle. Now, instead of chocolate cake, I'm having a popsicle. I'm still getting a treat, but it's a better version of that bad habit that I can work my way towards getting it.
You got it.
Swapping.
It's call that an intermediate habit on the way to the right. Yeah, right on. Brenton, any last ones?
You've covered it pretty well, George.
Next topic, self-reliance equals leadership, basically. That's what this is about. And when we talk about self-reliance now, if you've done it for yourself, you're able to lead others down that path because you realize you've got experience doing it for yourself. One of the things, I told you got to go speak at events. It's so important, right? And one of the things I did to speak at events was when I lost 70 pounds. I said, okay, look, here's what I do. Here's what I've done. I believe with my background and me doing what I say I'm going to do, it's a great time for me to talk to an audience. And of course, I get chosen to speak because I've done it. You've got the experience, not just the knowledge. All right, Kyle, you want to go next?
Does Brenton have anything to take it from?
I'll start you off. No, that's demonstrating these behaviours and actually having been through that experience. It's actually much easier when you are talking with someone who's still coming along the pathway. You can say to them, look, it's going to get cold, it's going to get difficult, the road's going to get rocky, you're going to want to give up, it's going to get a bit sunny, you're going to need a hat. So I've been down that path. And that having the experience, you can actually have the empathy and have the strategies to actually give advice for those who are coming along behind it. I mean, I say to some of the younger people that I coach, I'm like, I've had my time, now it's your time. And if I can help you pack your bag, get your saddlebag right and get you set, give you the right compass in the right direction, well, that's a good thing. And it comes to a little bit to what Kyle was saying about your purpose. And in different stages of my life, at different times, I've had a different purpose. This stage of my life, it's about, not that I'm going anywhere, but the bulk of my career is behind me. So I've had that. Now it's time for me to to pass on some of that to make their pathway a little bit easier. So what I'm getting at is you demonstrate that leadership, these tools, and Harada's been quite instrumental in my career. You set yourself up as the role model.
Yeah, I think kind of on what Brenton was saying, when you've gone through it, you can feel empathy for what people might be going through, where it's really difficult to do that when you haven't gone through things yourself or tried to learn the tools that you want others to learn, and go through the process of even rejecting those tools at first or not believing in them until you try them and adapt them to fit into your life and find what's effective and productive for you. And you can help you identify for others when there's an opportunity for them to look to tools or a path that maybe they haven't explored before. But I don't think you can often prescribe or force people to do something or believe something, right? You have to create the environment for change. I think someone really smart said that to me once, right? And then you can take it from that point, looking forward into the future. When you start coaching others, you can learn a lot more about yourself once you start coaching others, and you can feel a lot more pride and fulfillment when others are achieving, even more so maybe than when you achieved yourself.
Right. I remember the thinking of going from not self-reliant to self-reliant, because I was so set on not cutting my own grass, not doing certain things around the house, not cleaning. We'd have a cleaning lady come in. All these things that I summed up my life as I make X amount of dollars. If I can pay somebody for X amount of hours and therefore it's like a lot less that I make. Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I pay somebody to cut my grass? Well, I come out here and it's 40 acres. I'm not paying anybody to cut this grass. I'll go broke. So on top of that, you don't find people out in this area. So get into the habit and the thinking that no, you got to do for yourself.
It's actually not so much easier than what you might think. But there's less people who actually take that mindset than what you might think. And that people don't realize how close they are to actually stepping ahead of the rest of the pack. There's this perception that it's so hard, and that person must be superhuman. They must be so much better than me. And my realization is that actually the gap is not that wide, and that stepping up and actually taking self-control, being self-reliant, it actually puts you ahead of so many other people, and it's so close. It's sort of just there. It's just there. It's not way over there. It's just there. It's just a change in behavior, change in pattern, change in style. It's a lot closer than what you think.
Well, right on. Good. Very good. And as people see this, they see you as a leader. You're leading the way.
Yeah. I think it's easy once the switch flicks in your mind, right? Like, I feel like there was a time, could have been 5 to 10 years ago, where I was like, I don't know how much my life has moved forward in the last 10 or 20 years. I'm just kind of doing the same thing I've always done. I'm busy, lots of clients and employees and things going on, right? Just every day was the same. And it was like, I don't know if there's a big difference between today and what was 20 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel fulfilled or satisfied or like successful. You could use that word in that time in the way I defined it back then. And until you feel like you're not satisfied with your current state, and there's probably a gap there where you feel lost and you don't know what to do, until someone that you pull into your life, like I pulled George in, I think, and that's what helped me connect some dots, where it was, there is a way for me to imagine the future I want to create. And there is a system to follow and tools that I can pull in and use whatever I feel is going to help me in a given day. And that gave me a clear course to follow, right? To go from realizing that I wanted more, to defining what I wanted, to then understanding that it was within my control to use certain tools to help me make progress every day and make choices every day to help me do that. And eventually it led to me feeling like success is a feeling and not a place, and that I can feel successful every single day. And if I have a really bad day, I can have a very successful feeling day tomorrow. So it's easy to reset every morning with this system, with the RADA method and all these tools and all the people like yourselves that people have as community with around them. Every little piece helps.
Thank you, Kyle. We're all looking for joy. And, I gotta say, a lot of methods helped me as well. Find that joy, set expectations right. So I think part of it is you're gonna be disappointed if you have expectations in general. But you could also be elated if you have expectations and you achieve it. So, pick your battle. Do you decline or do you grow? So very good. Okay, next week we talk about another topic. See you guys then.
See you then, George. All the best, Carl.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Brendan.